to study about another important topic which is called as drought. So first we need to know what is drought. Drought is a condition when there is no rainfall, when there is no water availability in the ground, in the soil for the growth of the plant for a long time. When there is no availability of water for a long period of time, so a condition prevail, a condition occurs which is called as drought, and it has a serious effect on the plant growth, which we will discuss in this section. The first, here you can see the definition. A drought is defined as a period of abnormally dry weather. When the weather is abnormally dry means it gets dry or it continually dry for a long period of time, sufficiently prolonged for the lack of water to cause serious hydrological imbalance in the affected area. Or in case of the agriculture, it may be defined as a drought refers to a situation where the amount of the moisture in the soil no longer meets the needs of a particular crop, means the moisture in the soil is no longer available for the plant and it affects the growth of the plant and cause crop damage. So xerophytes and succulents are adapted to water stress. Xerophytes are the plants which are adapted to the desert area and they have a certain adaptations to overcome the water stress. If rainfall is poor enough below than normal, it badly affects the vegetation. This is referred to as drought, and this may be another definition. You can follow any of them. Drought leads to reduction in size of the plant, reduction in size of the leaf of the plant, reduction in the yield and the vigor. Vigor means production of the plant crop or the plants, and it may lead to the death of the plant if it will not control initially. Dry season is accompanied with a high temperature that causes the plants to use up soil moisture very rapidly, promoting the effects of drought. And drought, when it occurs, when the temperature is very high and plant is speedily or rapidly rapidly using the soil moisture, and there is a chance to diminishing the soil moisture very rapidly. So a condition occurs which is called as drought. So how plant responds to drought? Plant firstly try to respond to drought. Firstly try to overcome the drought condition, but if the plant do not have certain adaptation, so it would be difficult for the plant to survive. So plant exhibit responses to the drought variously, such as in some plants leaves curl. When the drought condition occurs, in some plants leaves turns its orientation, leaves become curled. They reduce their surface area to prevent the transpiration and to reduce the water loss in the case of transpiration. In other cases, stomata close. Prolonged drought inhibits production of the chlorophyll, so leaves turn yellow. When the drought condition will stay for a long period of time, so the chlorophyll will damage, and the leaf, due to the deficiency of the chlorophyll, leaves turns yellow. Deciduous trees may shed leaves. Deciduous trees which have the annual annual leaf fall, they shed their leaves prematurely. So if the drought condition prevail for a long period of time, so what some trees do, they shed their leaves before the time. They in them premature leaf fall occur, just to reduce the transpiration. Water stress the plants reduce osmotic potential due to the accumulation of the ions, calcium, sodium, magnesium in the leaves. So osmotic potential of the plant also reduces due to the accumulation of certain ions. Conifers and evergreen species, browning in conifers and the evergreen species, browning of the needles and the dieback of the twigs. Twigs mean branches. Their twigs and needles mean their leaves. Their leaves are the needle-like. Their leaves or their twigs or branches, they become brown due to the dehydration. In the drought, and these certain adaptations we also have discussed these adaptations in the xerophytes, but here we have again have a look on them. The reduction in the leaf area of the canopy. Plants drop their leaves. When they drop their leaves, the transpiration will turns off and reduce the area of canopy and develop the new leaves at the onset of rainy season. Plants will just shed their leaves to stop the transpiration, and when the condition becomes favorable, they develop the new leaves. It affects the photosynthesis but is compensated by the green stem. When the plants shed their leaves, so the process of the photosynthesis terminated for some time. But for the survival of the plant has to make the food by the process of the photosynthesis. So the process of the photosynthesis is alternatively takes place via green stem, because the green stem also has chlorophyll, and in this rare condition it can also perform the function of the photosynthesis for the survival of the plant. So these are the certain adaptations the plants adopt for its survival. Change of angle of leaves. For sometimes plants change their angle from horizontal to vertical just to avoid the direct sun contact. So this is how they can reduce or minimize the transpiration rate. Succulents. Development of fleshy tissue. Succulents in this case are some sort of fleshy tissues developed in the plant for the storage and the retention of the water, and for the storage of the water in the plant body are called succulent plants. In the plants in which succulents or the fleshy tissues develop for the storage of the water, they are called the succulent plants. For example, cactus. They absorb the water in the rainy season and use water in the dry season. Leaf adaptations. Various leaf adaptations found in such plants, like they turn their leaves into small surface area, cell wall become thickened, stomata become modified, meaning the stomata in the case of the xerophytes, I have already told you the stomata are the sunken stomata. They are found in the deep depressions to avoid the transpiration. Palisade tissues, the tissues where the gaseous exchange, where the process of the gaseous exchange takes place, are more developed. Vascular system denser and coated with waxes and resins. The surface of the leaf surface basically is coated with waxes and resins. Began to develop in those plants, shallow roots basically they cover the more area, and deep root system they basically they absorb the more water from the underground water system. Ephemeral life cycle. In some plants, ephemeral life cycle takes place like seeds germinate quickly before the time. Seeds starts to germinate quickly, bloom and produce seeds before the moisture gone. Drought escapers survive as a dormant seed. Sometimes seeds become dormant and they start their life cycle when there is a favorable condition come. Halophytes basically those plants which can grow in the salty regions. They have salt secreting glands and leaves coated with waxes. So this is how with the salt secreting glands and the waxes on their leaves they can prevent the drought condition.